Well, we are at the annual general meeting of Sri Lanka Rugby, and joining us for a few moments is the current governor of the Western Province and Marshal of Sri Lanka Air Force, Roshan Guonethileke. Good afternoon, sir, and thank you for joining us for a brief chat.
Good afternoon. It's nice to be here.
Well, how did the annual general meeting go? You were here right throughout the proceedings, and what do you think so far of the event which has just concluded?
I think it was handled in a very professional and gentlemanly manner. Actually, rugby is a gentleman's game. So the AGM was handled very professionally and very gentlemanly, and I think we should give credit to the committees involved in handling it this way. They kept the standards.
Well, we have a new president, a new committee for the next 2 years. The new president spoke about change and looking to do different things for Sri Lankan rugby. Looking at that point of view, what are the recommendations or suggestions you have that changes we could do for Sri Lankan rugby?
Yeah, I think he has quite a challenge in his hands, because now we have come to a certain position with a lot of hard work, and we seem to be there for some time now. So I think I can remember the present president talking about young people. So I think that's where my advice to him is to concentrate on the very young people, very young children at that stage, train them, get them into good eating habits, and sort of look after even their future also, so that rugby would be one of their main facets in life, and that they will concentrate mostly on rugby, that their parents will also be happy to keep the children in rugby, because at one stage generally the parents, I mean, you cannot blame them, they would like the children to concentrate more on their studies. So if rugby can look into both these aspects, and then we can catch these children very young and get them into top quality rugby players for Sri Lanka to get into the next slots. I think Risley can do that.
Well, from your time as being involved as a player and up till now, what are the changes you have seen playing? You spoke about the junior rugby at that time when playing for school, and what you see nowadays. What is the big difference, or is there anything that you have come across that you could like to mention?
Well, some changes that I see is, of course, during our time, during my presidency, the budget was very small. We were working with about 8 to 10 million rupees, but I now know that the budget is very, very large. So I think that's a good sign. People are willing to invest in rugby. So finances are required for these new training methods to be adopted, and for people to concentrate more on rugby. Then also I see the competition standards are very high, especially in schools. Sometimes it's too high in the sense win at all costs. So I think rugby being a gentleman's game, we need to have a little bit of sanity as well, because school performance is extremely high. It's from the school to the club that we have this vacuum. I think somebody has to concentrate on that gap. I think close that gap up, so that all the talent will come to the clubs. I think we need to increase the playing clubs also. 8 clubs have been there from those days. So you got to make it about 10, 12, then you can have 2 or 3 tiers of competition, and then help the B division and the C division also to players to get into a lot of clubs.
But finally, what is the advice you could give our young players who are coming out from school or playing club rugby? With all your experience over the years, what can you say to them?
Well, the young rugby players, I think if the players who really want to play rugby, they should look after their physique and probably not dissipate their energies in useless things, because building up of energy is a very important thing. And rugby is actually, a little bit of advice that I can give is, rugby is a decision making game. You have to make your decisions from start to finish, lot of quick decisions. So that's a very good leadership training for your future as well in your job also, because a leader has to make decisions. So playing a game like rugby automatically trains you in those aspects as well. So for parents also, I think it will be a good thing to know that your child develops decision-making abilities very quickly. For the children, they need to concentrate on their food habits, eating habits. There are things that dissipate the energy uselessly. They need to avoid those things and have a good balance in their studies as well. I think that will keep them healthy even in later years in life.
Well, words of wisdom for all our young players and where rugby can go from here onwards. That was Marshal of Sri Lanka Air Force, Roshan Guonethileke. Thank you so much for giving us a few minutes of your time.
Thank you for the opportunity.